Do you ever find yourself in a situation where somebody asks you a question? It could be a question about your work, about politics, about current affairs or problems happening in the world, things you've seen in the news, and you don't know what to say to answer this question. Or perhaps you're in a meeting at work and your manager asks you to give some information, some data, and you do not have that information, that data. What can you do in these situations? What can you say in these situations that still looks professional, confident, and doesn't make it seem like you're not good at your job or you're not doing your job properly? Well, that is exactly what I want to go through with you today. It's a bit of a strange topic, what to say when you don't know what to say. But believe it or not, this is something I come across often with my students. They agree with me, but they don't know how to express they agree. Or I ask them a question about a topic they've never thought of before, and they don't know how to let me know that they don't know this topic. They have never thought about this topic before. So today I'm going to give you a few phrases on what you can say in those situations. Interestingly, I wrote my script on paper, which seems to be something of the past nowadays. Everything we write is on the computer, on our phones, our smartphones. But I miss having the ability to cross off something when it's finished. And for me, that's a really positive experience. When I finish something, I can cross it off and say, yes, I've done that. Let me know down below, do you still take notes with a pen and paper, or do you prefer to use technology? Now, I'm trying to film this as quickly as possible. I actually filmed this video already, but something happened and you couldn't hear the audio. So this is my second time filming it and you might be able to hear some background noise. Apologize, I will try to edit it out when I edit the video. So what to do when you need more time to answer? As I said, somebody's asked you about a topic you don't know or you've never thought of before, or you don't have enough knowledge on this topic to give a detailed answer. What can you do in those situations? This is fantastic for anyone doing the IELTS exam as well, because when you're asked a question and you just need a couple of seconds to think about what you're going to answer, you can use these kinds of phrases to give yourself those few seconds. So let's have a look at these few phrases then. So the first one, somebody asks you, what do you think the world could be doing to be more environmentally friendly, to battle the effects of climate change? Wow, that's a great question. Or, fantastic question. I've never thought about that before. Both of these phrases demonstrate that you have a good understanding of the English language. You're confident. You will answer the question, but you haven't thought about it yet. So of course you do need to go on and give your opinion, but it just it gives you a few extra seconds to think about what you want to say. Let me give you an example. Here are two situations. So somebody asks me, Catherine, what do you think of the current global economic situation? And I sit back, cross my arms. I think, okay, so that's situation one, scenario one. Situation two is, Catherine, what do you think of the current global economic situation? Oh, that's a fantastic question. I've never thought about that before. In my opinion, so notice I combined the two. That's a great question, and I've never thought about that before. Then I paused, then I said, in my opinion, and started my answer. It looks much more confident. It looks much less like, I don't know, and more like, give me time to think about this. I want to give you a detailed answer. Similarly, if someone gives you their opinion, and you're not sure how to answer, or maybe you even disagree with them but don't want to tell them you disagree, you can just say, that's a fantastic point. Yes, brilliant point. Wow, excellent point. You can then add your opinion on the end here, or you can just leave it as that. That is a full sentence. What about if they're asking for your opinion? So somebody says, what do you think of the most recent European elections? It's not, and let's say you're not from Europe, but you've been watching the news and you know there has been an election recently in Europe. It's not an area I'm familiar with, but, and your answer. Or it's not a topic I know very well, but, and your answer. So again, instead of just saying, oh, I don't know, I don't know this topic, I don't know this area, I haven't seen any of it in the news. Instead of that, you're giving an answer that demonstrates this isn't my speciality. I don't know much about this, but now that you've asked me, what I would say is. So, oh, I don't know much about that topic, but I've seen in the news that lots of people are very upset with the outcome from the European elections. This is much more professional, confident, shows intelligence than just, I don't know, I haven't seen anything in the news. Now, of course, if you haven't seen anything in the news, you don't know about this topic, you could just say, it's not a topic I'm familiar with, and leave it at that. What about if you're in a meeting and somebody asks you, your boss, your manager, a colleague, for data, information that you either don't have or somebody else was supposed to give you, but they haven't? Now, if you were to blame that other person, if you were to say, Simon was supposed to give me the sales figures, but he didn't, so I don't have that information, it doesn't look very professional or adult to blame someone else. But you also don't want to say, I don't know, I don't have that information, because it makes you look like you haven't done your job, which of course it's not your fault. Somebody else didn't give you that information. Here are some things you can say instead that sound professional, are not blaming somebody else, but are also not saying, I didn't do my job properly. Catherine, give me the sales figures for last year. I don't have that information off the top of my head, but I will find out for you and let you know after this meeting. Or, I don't have that information off the top of my head, but I'll figure it out and get back to you. Or, I don't have that information off the top of my head, but I'll find it and follow up with you. Now, there's a few parts here to this sentence. I don't have that information off the top of my head just means I don't have it in my brain. It's not in my mind. I don't have that information. This can be used when you either do not have the information at all, or you have so much information in your brain that you've actually forgotten. So off the top of my head, off the top of my head. And follow up, get back, come back to you, let you know after the meeting. All of these just mean afterwards I'll give you that information. After the meeting finishes, I will find you, I will email you, I'll phone you and give you the information you asked for. Similarly, you could say, I don't have that information with me right now, but I will find it and I will get back to you after the meeting. So I don't have that information with me right now suggests you do have that information, but for whatever reason, you didn't bring it to the meeting. Or maybe it hasn't been emailed over to you. Something's happened that means you don't have that information right here in front of you. Again, you're not blaming somebody else. You're not saying, I haven't done my job, but you're professionally saying, I don't have that info. I will find out for you. What about by email then? If somebody emails you or phones your business and wants some information that you do not have, there's a couple of things you could say here. So in general, if you do not have that information, you could say, unfortunately, I don't have that information, but let me find someone who does, or let me find out and call you back, email you back. Or if you are the wrong person to talk to, you could say, that's not something I have knowledge on, but I will forward your email or forward your call onto somebody who does have that knowledge. So maybe you work in HR and they are asking about sales figures or supply or products. That's not your area. So that's not something I have knowledge on. You could also say, that's not my area of expertise, but again, I will find someone for you who can help answer your question. That's not my industry or that's not my responsibility, but I will pass you on to somebody who does have that knowledge, who is responsible for that information. All of these phrases are going to help you sound more professional, more confident, more impressive in front of your colleagues, rather than saying, I don't know. If you do work in a customer-facing business as well, maybe you work with clients or customer service, by using these phrases that I've given you, you're less likely to upset the client or the customer, and you're more likely to get a positive response from them. I remember I was in a meeting, it was my first meeting as a manager where I had to present and I was so nervous. Believe it or not, even though I'm a teacher and I teach online and offline as well, I hate speaking in front of people. If it's students, it's fine because I know what I'm talking about. But if I have to present anything, I get so nervous. And I was so nervous for this meeting, and somebody asked me a really easy question and I didn't have the answer. And I said, I'm really sorry, I don't have those details right now, but I will find out as soon as this meeting is over and send you an email. And the meeting carried on, everything was fine. I then sent them the email with the information they asked for, and he had actually forgotten that he'd even asked that question. So it was good of me to give a professional answer and not panic, instead of saying, oh my gosh, I don't know, making myself nervous, making myself scared, making myself feel anxious, when he wasn't even that interested in the answer to the question to begin with, so much so that he actually forgot the question he'd asked. So always use these kinds of phrases as a way to protect yourself. Don't feel like you have to give an answer, because if you lie or you make something up, it's only going to look worse later on. In English, we have an expression that is, it's going to come back to bite you. Some people say bite you on the bum, but you can just say it's going to come back to bite you. You lie or you make something up, and later on, you will see the consequences of that lie. So I hope there were some helpful phrases in there for you. It was a very quick video today. It's been a long time since I've done a quick video, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Have a fantastic week. Bye-bye.